two school team members here. On a Job King. There's no way Hans could have played for the school team.
Bro, you've never been on that
Hans?
team.
School team? But yeah, that's where people get it wrong. In football,
No, you
can't have...
specifying. Is it school team of rugby, football?
First of all, can you play football for yourselves?
Football, soccer.
Can you play for yourselves?
Why on school team?
You can't play for yourselves. So a team is comprised of so many other factors, so many components. You have the players, then you need the fans, you need the support system, the technical team.
So which team are you on now?
Until recently, when he started identifying as Kashani FC, Hans was in Shimba. And
Shimba Kanoga.
Yeah.
What the capacity? They're like
Manya,
Shimba
charge, you kept on laughing at Shimba.
Are you sure it's just the laughter?
So yeah, we got tired of being laughed at.
Capacity,
We got tired of being laughed at. You overlaughed at Shimba, so we were like, okay, if you're overlaughing at us, let's come in a different capacity. But we are still there. And it's just a change of face, change of belonging, but we are still there.
So are you putting your investment now?
Right now, so many clubs are fighting to sign me.
As who? As a sponsor, as a football player?
Of course, you can't fight for a sponsor, you fight for a player.
You fight for a player.
That's the same thing I've been telling you.
Deceived.
When I used to play for Shimba, people thought I was not playing. But I was always there playing.
You know,
the expectation on your side was that you would wait for someone with a big belly, failing to run, and then you'd easily identify and say, that's Hannington. But then when I would get on the pitch, in my jersey, I would disappear. You'd think I'm an 18-year-old.
the disappearing you're talking about, you see, we play a 10 aside, right? So you might be the 10th person on that pitch, but you're doing absolutely zero on the pitch.
Not necessarily. People like Steven would never survive without me.
Yeah, he's a god.
Not
this Steven. Yeah, you're Steven.
My other
used to be
called Steven.
Now,
yeah, so
Steve-O, we have no issues against him. We had these stories when we were at Ntare school, bakatugambira mbu Steve-O karuwe.
yeah, he used to be very good.
Truth, by the way. He was.
When we grew up,
But no one said
then
anything about
we kind
They
of
said things
swapped
about Job
positions.
King. They said things about Job King. For our viewers, anyone who is confused at the moment, we are joined by Mr. Hannington, Musinguzi, Kafooko, a member of the Lions League Council, and Job King, also a member of the Lions League Council. Kevin, I don't think you're on the Lions League Council.
Maybe I'm
doesn't qualify.
I'm on the shadow cabinet, maybe.
I don't know what you're doing here.
I also don't know, but I'm here to. I mean,
good time.
why would you have a drink without me? Let's have a good time. But anyway, he has talked about the league council.
Yes.
There is the league committee. There is the league council. What does the league council do exactly?
Okay, let me maybe bring context to that. Actually, at the start, we never had a league council. The league council is actually even ring-fenced. Not everyone can be a league council. There's a certain number, I think we're about 21, 20-something. And this is a group that was part of the first, you would call them inaugural members of NLL.
Crichton FC.
Crichton FC. So it's why we pick from. So it's not by mistake, but I think with time, definitely we'll revisit, and because the idea was whoever gets to be on the league council has the guidance. He knows where we've come from. You know the vision of the league.
He has
and
the
you can
original
offer guidance, because the main work for the league council is to guide.
Yeah?
We leave the committee to do their work, yeah, make their mistakes, make their decisions. They own them up, the consequences, whatever it is. Now, if we see something that has really gone out
Not
of
the
way,
right direction.
not the right direction, we come. If we see that they're still managing, there's no need of stepping in.
So you're trying to say that the league council is composed of the
3 wise men, actually.
3 wise men. You would put it that way. So there is nothing like a role, president, secretary, what,
No
or it's
chance.
just a group of guys who started this whole thing.
Offer advice.
We offer oversight.
Oversight.
We play an advisory role.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever we offer you in an advisory manner, it's up now to the committee to consider, or the president and his team. So ours is just to,
Is it in your hands? Is it in your JD to stay back doors? Because I do not think we've recently had an AGM, elected members of the committee, and unless you are at the AGM, you would never know we have the league council. Why is it that way? Why aren't you out there?
Yeah, the idea is not to actually overshadow our committee, because we actually trust our committee. And the beauty with the league, our league, Ntare League, Lions League, is that even the leadership that hands over, they still remain in the shadows supporting. That's why most times our transitions are usually smooth. So it's something we just picked and decided, yes, we offer guidance, but do not overshadow. Let them run the show, because the committee runs the show. Let them do their thing. We trust them. Many times, Aine, even Davis himself and Aaron, we have different meetings. I can guarantee you what we did. Okay, what we do is actually massive, but I don't think we want to take that credit. I don't think it's necessary. As long as, because the goal for us is we are all aligned for the same thing as NLL. So as long as that is happening, we are doing our job. You will never see us out there.
Before you chip in, maybe I can even add some little bit of context. If you look at the presidency, the president has advisors. Sometimes you know them, sometimes you don't even know who is advising him on what. But every time he is meeting with the executive and they are not agreeing on anything, or they are yet to make a decision, he has some wise people out there that he calls advisors that he will consult, run his ideas, and then freely, without holding back, the council guides the president. So that's the advisory role that we play.
You only guide the president. You don't guide.
It's up to his discretion.
My man Abbott
take
has
our
never
advice or
received
not.
wise counsel from him.
No. Actually, the way we've been running, it's been more, and we've been involved. We've been on the committee, fortunately, so we know what happens on the side of the committee. But because at the end of the day, the president, whatever decisions that are made, at the end of the day, it's the president that is, accountable. So because we don't want the president to just run and make decisions, and then at the end of the day, he needs to look for ways of covering up. It happens almost everywhere, in politics especially. But in this particular case, he has 3 people that he will seek counsel from, and then out of whatever we have agreed. It is the time we even had to vote on an idea.
Yeah.
So it's 3 of us with the president, and we're saying what passes. And then we had some conflicting ideas, and we said, no, can we vote on this? And then we voted. And we are all comfortable with it.
Anyway, maybe to cut you short, recently we had the first president of the Lions League, Zibo.
Right.
He was talking about how they were throwing appointments all over the place. Zibo, Anzot Davis, be the finance. Yeah. And I believe we've made, as the league, we've made around 10 years in existence.
10 seasons, 15 seasons.
15 seasons, 10 years, right? This season,
10 years.
This season, yeah. And I believe without the guidance, because first of all, the council was never elected, I believe so, right?
No.
It was never elected. These are guys that came out of the passion for the school.
Yes. So
I'm asking, is there something like a term limit for you guys, or Mutuvuganka or Biwitoria?
Yes, we do. We have.
It's not the only one.
It's both of them. Both of them, eh? By the way, both of them. Yeah. True.
No, we have a term limit, 5 years. I think we are at the tail end of that. I think, of course, we're going to do some consultations, and we'll be definitely getting maybe a new member come on. He's just done, I think, 2.
These guys are too old. I'm the youngest on the council.
Don't just be...
You're trying to ask him certain questions, but it's okay. Go on.
I think you're being fooled by the grey hair.
Eh,
I'm
By
a
the
young
way,
man.
By the way, Hans, when were you in Ntare school?
Oh,
ha.
Thank
the
you for
days
that.
of Kagame.
Ah,
You were Kagame's classmate?
Yeah.
Hard.
that is 1998.
I was,
1972.
I think
and I joined Ntare in 1998.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was 3 years old. How old were you?
I was
Same
not
year
yet
with
born.
my brother. You know, I remember that.
I'm 99 born.
99. Deceive, bro.
But I've done well because if you compare me to some of the guys that are in NLL, to begin with yourself,
Let's look at him.
I mean, people might think that you're my big brother. So that's why I said when I start playing football, people are looking for him, so they can't see me. That's how I disappear. Yeah.
Bringing you back to actually what we had talked about earlier on. 98, I believe the entire cohort right now has literally gone through their career ages and what, and they've made a bit of money. What really was the challenge that you guys failed to bring up the numbers that Kashoro is actually doing right now? These guys have zero football, but the numbers...
No.
Yes.
You cannot talk to a champion like that.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
That you must cut out. That you must cut out.
No.
Disrespect your Najiba Wadde.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir.
It's actually until recently we have played pure for 14 seasons. And just to mention something we've never talked about, you know, these guys, they be mocking us. Job had penalty na agitero mizi. There's a time. Ask anyone in NLL. Ke has a haki na ka Crichton over Kashoro. There was only one person. Na ndia bench was about a substitution.
But
Yeah.
Job, there's a season you were at your prime, I think. You scored 6 goals that season. And all of them were goal kicks. Kashoro introduced Haram in the league.
Who was the assist king?
Before we went to Kampala Quality, we were at Kings Park. You know, Kings Park is a wide pitch. Haram cannot succeed. Pitch and they continue to play from there. So when we went to Kampala Quality, we found a very small pitch. Now, Job King could afford to slot it in.
From the other goal to the other end.
They were playing 4 and 5 in front. There's no one in the middle because their balls were going over.
All the way.
It's
Job
all
scored 6
strategy.
goals that season.
But that's strategy. You've played football. You've watched guys who prefer to play total football. Pass it. But if it's not working for you, you have to... It's just life, how it is. What are you good at? If we are trying to play a certain abashwage, can't remember kata football ya man as touch, but let's say there's a time Machando was playing some good football. Okay, no, actually, Choncho, we could not match. It's evident, even if someone was watching, there's no way I can do that with. Okay, I can, but most of my team members probably would not. So what's the solution? You get a strategy. And it worked for us for some time until people found us, found it out now.
We actually had a strategy as Shimba, but then some haters in the league defeated us. But at one point...
Your strategy as Shimba was Chubans.
No, they were not Bachuba. They were younger boys in the league.
They were not
Younger boys in the league.
The issue of Bachuba, by the way, is something we can debate until the cows get back home. Because some of the boys were too good for some of you guys to accept.
That they went to Ntare.
Yes.
By the way, I've noticed that every petition you get of a Mchuba, it's usually someone who is playing abnormal football. Like, you're sure if he was an OB, you would
football
know.
too good for you,
Like, there's
football
no way
too
you can
good
play
for an ordinary
football, I
person
don't
to
know.
understand. Of course, we'll pass as abnormal. So these boys were just too good. And I think we were the first group within the league to try and deploy younger boys to play for us. We've had challenges at Shimba. This was the first time we've pulled out.
Our boy used to play for them.
2, 3.
Yeah. Almost all the good boys, in the league
Duncan
at one point played for Shimba. So we had an eye. We had an eye for the good boys.
No,
and we went for them.
In his defense, I think they're the first team that tried to show us the networking bit.
Okay.
Because, yeah, it's networking. Much as now for them, they took it a notch higher and networked outside Ntare. But, but
I don't know why you're insisting on
no, it's okay, fine. But, you know, it's a real thing, and that's what we want. Like, because if we decide, that's why even Kashoro has decided to, like, give people a chance. Because if you decided to play pure for the rest of, you know, I don't know how many seasons. I think we still had like maybe 3 more years. But then we have more guys who are coming from school. How are they going to be incorporated into
And that's exactly my point.
That's the reason Kashoro has opened up.
It's a big reason. So we still have the numbers.
Steven,
All the reason is
let me tell you the dilemma that befell us.
The young boys failing to get
No, the dilemma that befell Shimba, we realized as long-sighted people, we realized that we had challenges that were going to keep us out. And Shimba's Shimba, and I'll go back to the year. My class, 98, 2001, we were not so much into football. In fact, for that entire period, during our time, we had like 3 players, Ivan, you know Ivan Mugisha.
Yeah, I know all of them because I did 7 years primary.
Yeah, and then Vieira. So those are more or less the only boys who are playing serious football. Maybe Peter Rubarema. We had a few players.
As Shimba, what was your niche?
Yeah, so when... Stop confusing me as I narrate my story. No. I know what a niche is. But we realized that we had challenges within Shimba when we started. Getting numbers together was a problem. Some of our good players are not within Kampala. Others are not within the country. So Stephen tried so much to bring in smaller boys while encouraging the big ones like me to join the league. When we came on, we realized, okay, we don't have to. It doesn't have to be us playing, and it takes us back to the real reason why NLL exists. It's not only about football. So for us, we appreciated it way before everybody else. Now people are catching up with that. But then we came in and said, should we fail to play football, or we can actually come in and play other roles? That's why I said, when it comes to soccer, as you love to call it, it's not all about people who are kicking the ball. There are so many other forces around that for you to come up with a winning team. RSCTY guys making noise and all that, the noise makers play better soccer than the ones who are even on the pitch. You see?
You're actually very right.
So, that's how you come up with a winning team.
Even now, Arsenal, we found out recently that corners actually work for us. So the corners guy, coach is now, everyone is looking to get a corners guy.
Who was your goal kick coach when you were at your prime?
Do you know a guy
You are
called...
a menace in the league. You are a menace. Goal kick, Kashoro FC. Like everyone would be standing in their goal.
I think that time
You have like 10 keepers.
our coach was it Maringa? And Maringa back then, you know Maringa, I don't know if you know him. He used to be...
I know him.
Okay, at school they used to call him Kanana, Sankunda Dixon. Maringa. He comes rare these days. He was, I think, back then, he was the best right back we ever had. Ideally, he would chase everyone from the right wing. He would play 2-7 alone. Right now, actually, I remember when we had just gone to Moobs, we called him to come and play. The man ran, I think, for 5 minutes. So I looked for the man on the pitch. I was not seeing him. Not knowing the guy actually fell down. Just, you know how Moobs is. There's this other part.
Fell down and rolled the other side.
Guy Ariamankaha answer.
The guy
We looked for the guy. We thought he had been substituted. The best right back I've ever known. The man was lying there. I've had quite a few days.
Age doesn't lie. People
Even
tire.
these guys are making us run. One day, I can guarantee it. Even Pick Shots himself is now. We don't. How many games are we in?
13.
One goal. Kind of kamuyamba just.
And you know, we had this conversation almost 2 years ago, because there's a time Shimba did not have any 98 player. We only had younger players that my brother Stephen had managed to mobilize from the university. Now, in fact, we should be thanked, or the league should be extremely grateful to some of the tactics we deployed back then, because you guys are deploying them now.
But
First of all, we were the first. We were the first team. We were the first team to transport players from campus, from the university. So we recruited from the university, meaning we took the league to the university. Excited. In fact, Stephen would book players while they are still at the den. When a player would be making, when a player would be going for vacation, by the time the kid is in vacation, Stephen is talking to them and introduces that kid to some of us, and we say, we must have this kid. Bruno did the same thing somehow.
You guys
and go to those young boys. So there's a time Shimba was the most dangerous team in the NLL. That's how it started now, because, well, it's very easy to get misguided when you're out there looking for, when you're scouting for players. So you'd find this guy who is a good player who actually went to the den, all right? But then he plays soccer with another kid who is extremely good. You're not so sure where this kid came from, but then the one you're relying on, who is actually a lion, tells you, we were with this guy in the same class. Do you remember there's a time when George, you know George? There's a player, George, I forget the other name, but it's called George. Dark, I think now he's still playing, but for another team. He used to play number 5 for us. Extremely good, back guy. There's a time there was a contestation on whether George is actually a lion or not. We had to go back. I called the PR, Bruce. He said, dig in the books, show us if this guy actually went to the den. And we confirmed that he had actually gone to the den. But within the same group, we had 1 or 2 other guys who were so close to this young man. And this young man now we were relying on, who is a lion, was confirming to us that beyond reasonable doubt that these guys went to the den. Later on, we realized we had, I think, like 2 players who had actually not gone to the den, but they had all the characteristics of a lion. So they survived and played for us for some good
Shimba
for some good seasons.
So that Mungereza could fly. Because Munge is bringing people from Soro.
Exactly, but we started it. But then that's the whole thing about the NLL. It's about networking as well. And it has helped these young boys. Let me tell you, I'm not bragging or anything. It's not very easy to get me out there. It's not easy. Somehow we try to make ourselves busy even when we are not busy. You'll call me and I'll tell you I'm busy. But we are not busy actually. We're not that busy. We can create time. Like I've created time to be here. I always create time to have a drink with him. Conley is always disturbing me with calls and all that, and I pick and we meet. So there is no one who is too busy to create time.
Yes.
They just choose not to create the time.
Now,
the young boys who are at the university in year 1, year 2, year 3, and even those who have completed and are looking for jobs and all that, this league has made it very easy for them to approach us because we are there. Yesterday I was there and Conley introduced new terms like research on me. So I didn't understand what that means.
You was doing it in a corporate way for a long time.
Later on, President Aaron said, Warenga, this is, he called it a tunnel or something. He said, this is not Orisheche, this is extreme.
But the Shimba case needs to be studied because Shimba is special.
You need to benchmark. That's the right word to use.
Shimba is confusing. The other day we were voting, so they're saying the 2 oldest teams should be given an exception. Instead of 60-40, they do 50-50. And captains voted. In their minds, they thought they are rescuing Shimba. Shimba would not have to drop out. They would have to get now 5 original and 5
See, that's even the challenge.
But Shimba was not even among the 2 oldest teams. So the guys that were benefiting was Abazibu and Bonshe. So Oroni is
I think let's not look at Shimba's exit as something really bad, because it is not. And this is the kind of advice that I would want to give to the current President Ferdinand. If Shimba is out and I'm still there, it means a lot. But if Shimba is out and we are all gone, I'm gone, Steven is gone, the Adricos are gone, and all that. That's the thing. That's what I'm driving at. If Shimba is out because of some challenges, you should benchmark and understand why exactly did we fail. Because we actually fought. We fought to stay in. We fought to keep the numbers of the younger kids because we realized we'd hardly make 5. We needed those kids. At one point, we didn't have the kids. Now, when you overlose, you guys, when you overlose, there's nothing as bad as overlosing. I'm sure whichever team replaced us, they are not happy. They can't be happy. You can't be happy that every Sunday you leave home, leave other commitments, come to the pitch to be beaten every Sunday. That's how some people get
going to be beaten.
Nothing.
They are aware of their agenda.
You ask.
You wait for them. Most of them will start disappearing.
Let me ask Hans, are you saying you exited because you are tired of leaving, or
actually we are tired of being beaten? That's number one. Number two, those challenges moved from one season to another. So people get demotivated because, like I said, for you to have a good team, you need a lot of support. You need a lot of support from guys who are going to put in their money, and these guys want accountability at the end of the day. If they hear that every time Shimba is playing, they are beating them, this season we are beaten, the next season we are beaten, it becomes too much. And then now someone starts dodging you. So what the league needs to do, and that's what I wanted to drive, is that benchmark on Shimba's challenges, and then we see how we can make better
from happening.
You know, prevent a reoccurrence of such. Prevent. You said who is losing now?
Mugudu FC.
We need to talk to them nicely. Now they are covering the pain, but the pain is there.
You know, the league has been doing these motivational talks with younger teams. They should organize one with Mugudu.
Yeah.
For you guys,
that's one approach. Talk to the teams.
How are you conceding the pain of losing?
The understand.
Yeah. Because if you look at the behavior, the aftermath behavior, like after you've beaten them, what happens? You will find that they are the biggest consumers of alcohol.
No doubt.
So already we have psychological problems.
Let me tell you guys. Actually, I think the league has become family to most of us. If I was to speak for myself. If there are no league games on Sunday, I wake up because even home, they cannot put a function. They have to know. They try to shift it. Anyway, our family is all through Ntare, all the guys. My dad, my uncles, everything is in the blood. So, and I know, like all the other OBs, you actually always see it. When there are no games, people will wake up by 8, guys. Had to college. But what people forget, and I think that's what makes us different. Ntare OBs, everyone who went to Ntare, there's something that it's like either they sprinkle or something, but they have it. I cannot even describe it. There's respect. No one has to tell you that. We can be here, banter, mock, what. But at the end of it all, I know what to stop. Because, for example, Hans is my big brother. But we'll do this. I may be earning more money than he's doing. But there's something about Ntare, the way we do our things. Even in the group, you've seen it. We fight, we disagree.
And next day we are...
Most times you don't even find it anywhere. It stays with him. If I'm choosing, I say I want to support Nwajira, then for some reason, democracy, forget about the other democracy, and we choose Kevin. Because we are looking at the same goal, then I have to be and support Kevin. And with all my heart.
Where is the respect in a team like Karere, SC Karere, meeting Shimba?
And they give them a dozen of goals.
Actually,
that's
the biggest disrespect.
Actually,
that's a tip of demotivation.
Hey, you cannot meet your elders.
Honestly, if we're talking of networking and we're just, it's a driver. Some people are driving more than others.
I think it's a different
The thing is, and where I love the league is that the younger Lions, for the first time ever, because I always compare NLL to NSOBA, where I'm. Listen to my point. I always compare NLL. You see, I'm a visionary, right? I'm a visionary.
So we have
Now
options.
I compare NSOBA and NLL. And I always tell people, today NLL is bigger than NSOBA, but NSOBA is NSOBA, right? And these are points to consider. And the reason why I became extremely involved in activities of NSOBA, NLL, is because I saw something, and I've always tried to push it. Silently, but I push it. I need the two to work together. I pray for the two to work together. And they have worked together. There's a time we had an AGM, NSOBA AGM, in Ntare. NLL was not represented. I personally said, we must have representation from NLL. We appointed in absentia. In fact, we set aside 2 slots for NLL. We said, NLL must have representation on NSOBA. Because, take it or leave it, NLL is NSOBA.
Yeah.
It's part and parcel of NSOBA. Because we are all OBs, so by virtue of that, we belong to NSOBA. And now we have babies that have managed to move out of the home, and some babies might run faster than others. But at the end of the day, we win if we are working together, right?
You see, Hans, actually, thank God that maybe you are in attendance or you got to know about that then. But the leadership then of NSOBA, I think, you see, we'll be here to talk about change, and it's a fact of life. Yeah. If I know Nwajira or Troy is good, sometimes you need to cut the arrogance and actually accept. Because acceptance doesn't mean that you're weak or you're... That's what NSOBA took longer to actually understand. That the league had become so big. And it is still growing. It has the numbers, it can... Whatever they decide to do, they all focus on that. There were some, I would call them fights.
Bad elements.
In NSOBA. But I think now with the new guys, there's more. Yeah? So I think that it's going somewhere.
NSOBA has had its challenges, crazy challenges. At one point, we had to do whatsoever was possible at that time to change the leadership of NSOBA and try to steer it towards a certain direction. And we achieved that. We had to get rid of the old guys because I think the thing, they had outgrown the NSOBA fraternity ideas and all that. Yeah, they were driving something different. The Riodas, we managed to get them out of the way. The team that we brought in place...
Almost somebody.
I didn't want to put them...
No, I have nothing to hold back because anyone who has been on the NSOBA platform knows the war we had back then to bring in the change.
But it's better.
Now the change has been intentional.
I was told when Honorable Rioda was chairman NSOBA, you were leading the Potea gang of NSOBA then.
We are still there. By the way, when you look at, we call it IO, NSOBA IO, NSOBA in opposition.
Potea.
And we've done well because we have wins to show for whatever we have been doing. But I can assure you, NSOBA IO has members or members of the NSOBA fraternity that are well intentional. Because we are not looking for elections or whatever, to be elected as leaders or what. We are not looking for any favors, but we are fighting for NSOBA to get where it's supposed to be. I'm one of the leaders. We are like 3 big-time leaders of NSOBA IO. I won't give names. Some are generals and all that. But our intention is to ensure that NSOBA shines.
I have an idea for them. You see, NSOBA IO should merge with NSOBA.
Hard.
They have the same ideas, they have the same goal, they have the same...
They have not yet matured. They have not yet matured to the level where NSOBA IO is.
You said you are visionary, so you can guide them on the way.
We have.
But I believe they have the right intentions for the league. But anyway, to cut you guys short, let's first appreciate these guys at Power Our Throats, online chupa. They've done well for, I think, the past all the episodes we've done. As a man on so these guys, you can call them anytime you want a drink. You said you love VSOP, NSE, all those things. 15 years strictly. Those guys they have you covered.
I'll get some.
Yeah, and also thanks to the guys behind the camera, pick shots. They do everything wedding.
Before we came to this set, Big Shots was asking me, ever since I created this business, I've been waiting for business from Job King. I'm not seeing it.
Job King. It's a very hard paper.
Msha Thomasen.
Sham Hajire.
Hati. Anyway, first of all, who's asking?
He said it's
someone
who's
asking. Someone who's asking me. Are they married?
It's asking. No. You see, this is a business.
That's one. Let's leave it there. But let me talk. I think I've given pictures more business than actually he knows. But I'm sure he's waiting for
yours personally.
For my function that is coming soon. I've been telling people next year. And this next year.
There is always next year.
This is next year. Next year, it's I think next year is going to have the league president, my friend Kasheka.
Kasheka Nazad Bukora.
I think
hard.
Tin sure my elder uncle.
One man Elijah.
Albert.
PRO of
the league.
Albert.
Karazaro.
Albert and I think next year he's some Tajirobo. Pictures. Make sure we have. They
have failed to pick.
Pictures will have even brought better equipment.
But you see, let me talk about this thing is not about competition because you've seen younger boys than you that are married, right? Are you under pressure?
This man is married.
Are you under pressure?
Are you under pressure?
I'm not under pressure. Because
whenever I look up, whenever you are talking to,
you see, Job,
if they don't hear you speak confidently, it will not. So you better speak. And
whenever pressure starts coming,
are you under pressure?
They were Baino, they were one man, they were Job King. I see Aine Derrick.
He's of age. Actually, that time was
Drake, Kabari FC.
But you guys,
bro, Aine.
You need to take your time. No. Some of us who married early, I can advise you as your elder, take your time.
At least for you.
When the right time comes,
about marriage.
When the right time comes, you'll do these things. Yeah, because sometimes you look back and you're like, what was the rush for? So we all have different ways of doing things.
We have our time.
And marriage is one of those diverse projects whereby...
You guys. You talked about Aine. Aine is of age. Aine came to the league when he was... actually, the league, more than football, has done wonders.
I say Aine is very old.
The boss said when Aine joined the league, he was
a very poor man.
Very
poor.
No, the people come to the league, but you could see his potential definitely. You could see his entire boy through. But the people have come to the league and you see, even Baino himself, Bawani. Even if I talk about the young boys, you remember a guy of budget cuts? What's his name?
Pedro. Inside.
Pedro now is in line. Do you know I was telling you that even with those...
He became lost a bit. I think there was a bit of guidance from some people around him.
No, the thing is the league, before you know it, you might think people maybe are swindling money. But Pedro was the one fighting our budget because he saw some... But now he's the same guy who's saying, man. So even these guys who are making noise, please. Let's give them a chance.
One of the functions of the council they didn't mention is that in their oversight, they also do that financial oversight. There's no money that comes out of the league account without these people being aware of. They have to be aware. There's a transaction going to be made and signatories approve. So it's very hard to steal league money because you need so many people to agree that money is coming out.
It's hard. Shanankes have facilities.
But you see, at the end of the
referee's money is signed on the checks of the referee.
That's okay, you can sign, but the final guy...
The final guy receiving the money.
The final guy receiving the referee. The check is in the referee's name.
I said something at the AGM,
it's very hard
recent AGM, that the league is actually now business.
It
True.
is.
When you look at how the league started, I was watching something that Brian shared. I think it was...
And NLL,
he's sitting with you guys here.
True.
When you hosted him, I kept on comparing the discussion you had and the AGM that we had. Because at the AGM I said, this was a baby, all right? So we called it like a startup. 2, 3, 4 people came with ideas, others supported it, others must have shunned it, managed to move from one level to another, but as it grew, the demands also keep on growing. But then it moved from that level to another level. So someone said, some people must have played money. We need to go back. And I said, no, you don't do that. The best way of continuing where you're going, because if you start going back, then you're going to dig out things, then you're going to fight. So you waste a lot of time. But at the end of the day, what do you want? You want to keep growing. You want to hit, you have targets that are ahead of you. So the best thing to do is close the gaps that are there right now, bring in some improvements, and keep going. People were banging the table at the AGM claiming that the books of accounts were not
audited.
No, the audited books were not signed. Not signed or not approved or something. They're saying if it were me taking the presidency today, I wouldn't swear in. But then someone else, because I was seated next to Brian and other former presidents, they said, these guys are lucky that today we even have audited books.
That is very true.
Before, the handover would be...
We were told Davis was handling a budget of 85K.
Yes,
exactly. How do you audit that?
How do you exactly?
Game week.
So moving forward...
Per game week.
Per game week.
Yes. Yeah. The best thing to do is, and when Aaron came in as president, I was one of the people, even before the election, I said, the league has been blessed. Because I know Aaron as a businessman. Before knowing him as a friend and Obi and all that, he's a smart businessman. And like I said, the league is now business. So when you get a businessman, a tested businessman, tested and approved, and you put him in charge, it means that he's definitely going to move you from where you are and take you to the next level. And when he leaves, whoever comes in will have to fit within those big shoes. So now, if audited books, if you're having challenges with finances, blah, 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 the next guy, it is upon him now to ensure that everything is done in line with corporate governance. You need to borrow from now how a good corporate is governed and apply the same principles into managing the league. The league is business now. So at the end of the day, you even find that on the committee, you have guys who are pro-business. All right? Because when you start looking for sponsors, now you need to sit down and say, where do we get money from? Before it wasn't a concern. Before it was more of soccer. But I've already said that it is not about soccer. There's so much that comes with the league. So as you mobilize now, you need different teams that are going to come in and say, how do we make the money? That's number one. But there's also making money, and then you get lost on making money, and then you don't think about the things that were attracting people into the league. Then you also forget about the Bazei, like now I said, Shimba players, some of them like Steven are no longer coming to the pitch. Why? Someone needs to find out why are they not coming, how do we bring them in? How do you encourage the younger ones who have just joined the league, who are struggling financially? How do you encourage them to talk to people like me and say, you're no longer with Shimba, but can you come and be with us now? Because when I go in there, it becomes an emotional thing. When these kids call me and say, we are struggling at pitch, I will make sure that I do something about that. And now that's the big thing about Ntare boys, is that when you call the president, when Chigali, remember, PK personally said, if you guys ever need anything here, let me know. I'm just a call away. That's the big brother mentality that so many other schools don't have out there.
Must be smiling wherever he is right now.
But Kashan is blessed now.
The boys came for me, and I think I'm obliged now as their big brother to go in and do something for them. I will. And I will bring along other big shots out there. They are there. Ntare has big shots everywhere.
You mentioned something about putting businessmen in charge of the league.
Yes.
There's only one person that came to my mind. I have a boy in our area called Katunji Andrew.
Very top businessman.
Was when we were in senior one. He was transporting people to Kampala. Kana guza Joshua room. wind Sudana inajukwa. If you want anything in school, Atunji was the plug. Business, hakujukora. Hakutera henja.
Has been our chairman.
So with such a guy, because at the end of the day, you need to strike a balance. You need to strike a balance. Because if you go business and businessmen hate. First of all, we are dictators. We are despots. That's why I said I don't love European football because I can't influence decisions. So for me, anything where I cannot control the outcome, I will lose interest. We hate to lose. That's number one. Now, we want to win, and also we want to run profitable business. If the leakages are many in terms of expenditure, we want to fight and cut off so much and all that. But now the league is a little bit complex because you need to keep playing good soccer. You need the kids to be taken care of. You need the networking to continue. The drinking. Someone, during the AGM, someone asked, I know they commented on something I shared within the NSOBA group and said, it seems the guys who are running NLL, and I said, no. Interest yourself in understanding deeply what the league is all about. So it's important to have a leader who will have knowledge over all that. An all-rounder who can play this side, and have advisors, because if you're not a businessman, have advisors who are in business. If you don't understand soccer properly, it's like saying that someone who did not play football or soccer cannot become a league president. They can, but then you need to make sure that you have structures in place. All right? We guys who see things from the side,
that's the analogy.
We see things totally different.
Minister Kahindo Tafile used to defend himself for becoming justice minister.
Like he's not fit.
Not a lawyer, but I have friends who are lawyers.
You know, they say leaders are born. I don't subscribe to that school of thought. To be a leader, we are all many. Like now, when we're choosing our next president or committee, there are people, because of their reputation, if I mention the name, you see, let me tell you, these days it's through action. I be seeing what you do. The moment you say you want to be someone, I be like, I pause and be like, you know what, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm your friend. But generally I'll be like, yeah. But I can give an example of Aaron, even Fadi himself. Aaron, when I was then introducing him, especially when I was going to Chigara, I introduced him to some very big guys. But when they found out about Aaron, they said, yes, this is the guy we can work with. When I go back to his point is that when you get a lead, especially for the league, you need someone who can link. Aaron and all the leaders we've had, they can be here talking nonsense like Nwajira. That's the best example. When it means business, they will mean business. Yeah. When it means going to the big boys, they have that favor as well. So you need someone who's as if a full package. Not everyone can actually be a leader.
Talking about leadership, I think as you, the elders, because I believe on this set right now, we have the age difference is big, and this is what I was trying to say. You see, these young teams, okay, I don't know why I'm calling Enshaza young, but anyway, they are younger than me. But Enshaza, Kashani, these boys actually need the guidance, and I love what you're saying, what Aaron was doing. He has been having those sessions of grooming these young kids, telling them that, giving them direction, maybe career-wise, maybe financial-wise, maybe development-wise, maybe actually even the behavior of how you should treat yourself in public and all that. And this is something that these kids actually should take seriously. Yeah. Other than the pombe, the drinking and all that.
That's part of it, but
it should be that you should come out of the league saying, actually, I've benefited a lot from this community.
And they need to be intentional as well.
And they need to be intentional about it. It doesn't stop at you looking for league fees, paying league fees.
No, actually, league fees becomes easy.
Becomes easy.
First of all, I will know about you. I will know your discipline. I know your ways. Yeah. So if you come to me, you want 1 million. It's also easy for me. I won't even fight. You get that kind of thing. Yeah. But if Troy came,
what you're saying is after settling,
No,
You see, when you look at Ntare, hey, business no sakushanga bazikwaka.
By the way, I grew up in Mbarara. And when we were growing up, Kafooko no na singa center muri Mbarara. Vision Empire, Vision Radio.
Kafooko senior, right?
I don't know. Are you related to him? Ninga,
that's my brother.
That's your brother.
Kafooko senior is
that explains really.
Very old man. He rested.
I was wondering, akasinta kakona ko inoki hire. Probably generational wealth.
Akinyine na kanje. Akinyine na kanje nkanye. Kafooko na waineze zirimba rezanje ziri Kampala.
being a member of the League Council, by virtue of being a representative to NSOBA, what advice would you give both entities? Because you see, we exist at the same time, but there are different entities. NSOBA is driving, renovating the land statue. We are driving, constructing a home. How can we merge Kshangambu at a certain point T? NSOBA and NLL are pushing for our home.
Maybe before he answers, he should also tell us, because I'm sure he's the bridge between, he's both this side of NLL and the NSOBA. So what challenges are there that are actually hindering that partnership or the merging or whatever, like they're working together?
Okay. There's a huge disconnect between NLL and NSOBA. NSOBA used to be there. You're working maybe abroad or before the era of WhatsApp. NSOBA was there in words because people went to Ntare school. By virtue of that fact, they are members of NSOBA.
There's something funny I've remembered. When we were in O-level, our class teacher was Mohozi Evans, the boy. And so whenever, the NSOBA chairman then was Major Awich. So whenever we'd be talking about him, he would say, Chief Awich was in school, he was disappointed, you guys were in strike, Chief Awich. So you'd refer to him as Chief Awich. Now the Chief Awich we knew in history really was different. So what always wondering, is this Chief Awich connected to this one? What's going on? But now when you later meet Awich, he's an okay guy really.
Yeah. When we were younger, NSOBA belonged to the old guard. When we were younger, the old guard I'm referring to the likes of President Yoweri, President Kagame, ministers, former ministers, ambassadors and all that. Former, I think, Justice Kwesiga is now retired. But that's the league that was running affairs. And it was more of a political kind of organization. They are NSOBA members because they went to Ntare school and that's it. And then they are the real NSOBA guys who are running the show. Ministers, the presidents and all that. And they had their political power around there. At one point, one time when we were at the Den, I remember we had...
when both presidents came?
Yes, we had a game, a soccer game between, I think it was the OBs and the teachers, but then the presidents played. Both presidents played, YK and Kacheka. It was in Kacheka. We were younger, and we couldn't understand...
the iconic photo of Sevo playing football.
Yes, yes. So, and on the political side, the likes of which had scored highly because that time there was some political slight misunderstanding. There was some heat between Uganda and Rwanda. But then before you know, the OBs managed to bring the two countries together. So which keeps on bragging, and he has the bragging rights on that. He says, I'm the only person who managed to make the two countries talk to each other even when we were closer to war. So diplomatically, he had scored highly. I mean, that is how... And again, with these stories, you should understand how strong NSOBA is. That even on an international level, we can unite the two countries. through things like football and all that. Even recently when the league had a finale in Kigali, it was huge. In the security circles, everybody was asking questions. Everybody heard about Ntare. The fact that Ntare has a sister school now, the other side, I don't want to call it a branch, but a sister school on the other side of the border shows you how strong Ntare is. So NSOBA is bigger than the politicians. NSOBA is bigger than me and you, and it is high time we all started appreciating that first. Because when we do that, then we can sit down. The other day we were at the AGM, the NLL AGM, and I was looking at things like, we went to Ginger. I always say, I'm not a leader, an elected leader or a position holder, but somehow I'm everywhere. I don't know if it's a blessing, but I'm everywhere. I was in Ginger for the strategic plan meeting for the NLL, and then the other day at the AGM, the book came out, beautiful book, with a 5-year plan, strategic plan for the NLL. You'll be surprised if you asked NSOBA for the strategic plan. They might not have it. What am I saying? There's a time when the politicians were using NSOBA to achieve their purposes. They had their purpose. It was more political gain. That's why you had people like Yoda, Wichpola, Professor Kamuntu, Justice Kwesiga. Those were, they are politically connected and they were using it because now they have political power. It keeps you closer to the president. I always tell you, NSOBA chair will knock at any door and it will be opened because it's NSOBA we are talking about. You have a sitting president here and a sitting president in the neighboring country. So it is high time now that we changed the narrative. Let NSOBA be for other things, things like keeping the lion roaring, even way beyond the sitting tenure of the two presidents. When the two presidents are gone, shall we be in a position to knock on doors and get them opened? We need to be strong. And for us to be strong and attain that in future, we must start now.
We are grooming President Nwajira.
Thank you. So now,
But
how do we achieve that?
You know, like how if the Nanite minister went on her knees and told President Museveni, please come for another term. That's what people keep telling me. We want you to come.
On several occasions,
So we want you to come.
on several occasions, Connolly has told me when we have these discussions, he always tells me, but why don't you become chair? It is until you say, now I'm standing, and you look behind, and Connolly is nowhere to be seen.
That comes to attention.
So I know those things, and I never get excited. For me, I believe that I can serve in my capacity, by advising, by sharing freely the things I feel for the NSOBA fraternity. Because I love NSOBA, I love Ntare School. It made me who I am. Everybody who has gone to the school and comes out will tell you the same. Because there's a way Ntare groomed us. Some of us who left Ntare and went to other schools in HSC, we can attest to that. We know the two different environments. When we were in Ntare, we thought, it's just a school like any other school. But when we left and tested the waters elsewhere, my friend, the story I will tell you is different from someone who did Ntare from S1 up to S6, because I have something to compare it with. Now, we want Ntare to be stronger. We know that we have been aided. I mean, it's God's blessing. We've been aided by the fact that we have the sitting president, but he won't be president forever. Someday, another person will become president. But how do we ensure that if we do not make the next president, we still remain influential?
Relevant.
As a bloc, we can be a political bloc, we can be anything, but at least we can be a block of kingmakers. We can make ministers, we can influence, we can even influence the man at the top, even when he's an OB of another school and not necessarily Ntare, but we shall be a force to reckon with.
Or an OG.
How do we do that? We don't do that by creating different factions. There's a time when, for example, there were, I think, about 3, 4, 5 groups that were calling themselves NSOBA. There is NSOBA, the one that is for the old men. There is NSOBA for the young boys. There is NSOBA that is, I think, into finance. Someone even registered and he has Ntare, NSOBA something credit. So there's also that one. So the time when WhatsApp came, and that's why I always give credit to technology, WhatsApp managed to connect so many Ntare OBs from every corner of the world. And that is why it is very easy for you now to organize the NLL, because for some reason you're connected even when you're not together. You drop a message and everybody gets it. So WhatsApp has been a big contributing factor when it comes to bringing the Ntare fraternity together, Obi's fraternity. And on the NSOBA side, it also managed to put so many people of different years, depending on which time they were then, putting us together on one fora and us discussing things and all that and all that. Now, like I said, there are so many babies that moved out of NSOBA. The NLL, take it or leave it, moved also out of NSOBA because a number of NSOBA members, and like I've said, membership to NSOBA is deprived from the fact that you went to the den. So you're automatically a member, whether you are subscribing or not. Subscription will give you other benefits and all that, but by virtue of the fact that you went to the den, you're a member of the den. You're a member of NSOBA. So that it means that NLL is actually a baby to NSOBA. All right? Only that the baby now, for some reason, managed to run, a number of lions, put things together, energy together. Exactly, and that is what happens. Now the kid grew, all right, and outgrew the potential of the dad. Now, the dad had, like I said, I started from the political side, and then down the road we realized we need to get rid of, not get rid of, but change leadership from the picture of it's only politicians that must lead in NSOBA to the fact that we need visionary men
we just need to change their minds
to lead in NSOBA, all right, and have a strategic plan. What is the NSOBA strategic plan? Honestly speaking, I don't think it's there. People have ideas, different ideas, but have we sat down as great thinkers of the big school and come up with a strategic plan, maybe 10-year or 15-year strategic plan? When the two presidents are long gone, where will NSOBA be? Can any person from the NSOBA fraternity answer that question? No, but the league knows already where they're going to be in 5 or 10 years from now. Those are the things we need to be embedded within the day-to-day management of NSOBA, because when NSOBA is strong, the league will be stronger, the circle will be stronger. Out of NSOBA, we have a circle now. And maybe at another opportune moment, I'll share, or maybe you can even invite the chair or a team of 1-2 people from the circle to come here and share with you the ideas, because we are there and we are thinking. I belong to the circle as well, and I'm on the committee of the circle, and we have a product, for example, that can benefit NLL. So how does now NLL and the circle work together to improve on the financial standing? Because the circle has money. NLL, I don't want to say it doesn't have money, but needs money. Needs more money. You're building a home, a permanent home. The circle can push in even 500 million because they have it. I belong to the NSOBA investment club. We have billions invested somewhere in UAP, in different places. But this is a good investment plan for us, the NLL. How do you tap into it, or how do we tap into it? Because if we both work together, there's a lot to benefit.
Numbers, I'm scared. People, 1 billion people start looking.
Yeah, we have over $1 billion
I hope the
invested
cameras
somewhere,
are not focusing
as
on you,
as
because
NSOBA investment club.
I've been making
Now,
23 nodes per second.
yeah, so I want to summarize this by saying there is a lot to win in us working together, because together we are stronger than divided. Now, if you look at the current NSOBA leadership, I have been struggling, and I appreciate the fact that the ones we have today understand what I was talking about back then. But we need to keep on pushing. And for us to push even now, the league leadership or anybody who is on the side of the league, we need to come up with an approach moving forward on how you can actually get more involved in the day-to-day runnings of NSOBA. Because NSOBA is you are NSOBA. So there's nothing like, for us we are the league, and NSOBA is NSOBA. No, you belong to NSOBA. That's why the other day there's a group of young men, because they failed to, what do they call it, hijack leadership of NSOBA. They thought they had been thrown out. And I've labored to explain and say, no, you are not thrown out, but you are just not ready to take over the top leadership of the other side. But since you belong to the other side, why don't you join? Join, understand how things are run on the other side. Because if you had done that 2-3 years ago, believe me, the Ansom NSOB.
They had even created another thing called NLL. Lions League of Ntare.
So NSOB would have appreciated, because by now NSOB would be having a president, a chair, or a vice chair on the side of NSOBA, if they had understood how NSOBA runs. In NSOBA, we have what we call NSOBA IO. It is our own creation. It's not registered, it's not anywhere.
We have understood that's Potea.
And almost everybody is a leader there. I'm a leader.
For clarity, NSOBA IO, should tell these people it's NSOBA in
opposition.
Hard.
And we are self-appointed to play an oversight role on whatever happens in NSOBA.
NLL Potea.
And because we do it in an organized manner, we can influence decisions on the other side.
Can't say the same for Potea gang in
Potea
is organized.
is also
NLL.
Is also opposition.
Are you organized?
Very, very.
If you organize, then you'll achieve whatever.
But now that they got a president, now that Aaron is off the other presidency, he's switching to life presidency for Potea gang.
Oh,
Aaron. Made his declaration today morning.
The checks will be
Potea did and achieved was pushing the agenda of Luzira Tario Ora. And they achieved in fact, they enjoyed it. So I think Potea gang is celebrating right now.
As long as you see, the problem we have with opposition is that opposition, they get lost. They don't have a specific agenda. Some of them just come in because they want power. You ask them, but okay, when you have this power, what are you going to do? And they don't even know. So it means that they're just pushing for power. But if you're pushing ideas across board, ideas that can sell to anybody out there, then it means that you're organized and you actually know what you want. And you don't have to be elected or registered or anything.
That's actually how Potea gang is. They do not want any positions of power.
They just want to
disorganize.
Is that what you're saying?
They just look at the loopholes.
I would call it providing an oversight role. And that is what NSOBA IO does. NSOBA IO, by the way, is comprised of very strong men. Very strong men.
To mention them.
And I want to mention them, but very strong men.
If you're going to be a very strong organization or any, you need to have a very strong opposition because it gives you the checks. Many people see it as people fighting you, but it usually gives you that check that you never give yourself.
You look at the other side of the coin and you're like,
yeah, I think I'm. Yes, but now this Potea gang, I don't know if they're the right.
So anyway, let me first drive my point back. So NSOBA is still going through some development stages. And at the end of the day, the biggest objective is to create an extremely vibrant NSOBA community, well organized, with branches, with babies who are being supported by NSOBA, the father. So that at the end of the day, we are in fusion. If NLL is doing well, the investment club is doing well, and maybe anybody else comes up with something else that is within NSOBA, there's something that I'm thinking of. And Pictures has actually made it much, much easier for me. Because there's something I've always thought about.
NLL TV.
Something in line with the big NSOBA. And we'll discuss. At a later stage, maybe we can even partner on ABCD and come up and achieve that, what we want to achieve. Not as me, an individual, but as NSOBA. And this is something that I've sold to the bigger boys like the NLL patron, bigger boys like the current chairman in NSOBA. We always meet and have these chats. And I told them, there's something lacking on the side of NSOBA.
Patron wa NLL, guy woman
Munong.
Very nice.
Very nice gentleman.
And he has earned our respect, all of us, across board. Whether you're on this side or the other side, he has earned our respect.
I think it's to do with his character. He's a very down-to-earth
and we have so much to learn from him.
Yeah, a lot.
So much to learn from people like him.
Things we're talking about. You can't choose anyone to just
run, be your leader or something.
So how do we attract the big boys within NSOBA, to join NSOBA, they're already in NSOBA, but to be actively involved in NSOBA. Now, you have things like the NLL, because what does NSOBA have to offer as NSOBA, other than bringing us together under a WhatsApp group? That's all it has to offer. So how do we then strengthen ourselves so that the ideas that are coming up outside NSOBA, the babies that we're talking about, the NLL, the SACO, and everything else, how do we work together to ensure that the NLL doesn't belong to a certain group of the NSOBA community, but rather the entire NSOBA group? So that when the NLL says we have something going on, you don't even have to come, you yourself, Stephen, to invite us on the NSOBA group. No, the NSOBA group is already aware, because somehow, somewhere, the two are fused. And that's why at the AGM that I referred to earlier, I insisted that we have representation
from the NLL,
within NSOBA. But I'm very sure I don't even know who your representative is.
President.
Okay, the president was one, but we also had 2 other slots.
Was the patron part of the representative?
We said the president, any sitting president will automatically be a member of NSOBA. But we also said 2 more slots on the committee for the NLL. And they were filled by some youngins.
We were not given those slots.
I think it's...
When what did you call it?
NSOB.
The opposition group. When NSOB moved out, 1 or 2 boys who stayed there were made, they were elected into...
representatives of the league.
Yes.
I think it's Ponte.
If you want representatives
Actually,
of the league,
Ponte was before.
you should
I don't know if it's
the
still
current
on.
one. I think Ponte is still on.
formally, and the league gives you.
Now that's the disorganization that I'm talking about.
But
But the league is formally represented by ghosts in NSOBA. How now will the ghosts represent you or pass on your concerns to the bigger group? So moving forward, how do we ensure that we work together? The current leadership of NSOBA, the current leadership of the SACO, I always push them, because I have the privilege, at least I'm privileged that I talk to them. I will pick a phone and call them and remind them of how important it is that they talk to NLL and bring it closer, bring it home. I do that, and I will never stop doing that. Now I'm talking to NLL and I'm telling you, and even the president emeritus, I used to tell him every day, how do we bring these NSOBA guys to the NLL? But also, how do we bring the NLL to NSOBA, so that at the end of the day, we work together and empower ourselves, both financially, but also in terms of numbers and all the other values that we stand for as the NSOBA community. Because I believe that the moment you convince all these other big boys, the Justice Kwesigas and the witch pollers and the current chairman and all the other big boys that I'm talking about from NSOBA side, to at least make an appearance whenever they can at the NLL on Sunday, even if you don't get 100%, even if you get only 10% of those boys turning up.
It's a big statement.
It's a big thing. When they come and understand, or when they come, then on your side you should be ready to receive them.
When they come, we're not buying beer.
Leave alone beer, because you see, this thing is bigger than beer. Beer is part of the game, but it's bigger than beer. It's bigger than football. It's about networking. It's about making each other stronger. It's about sharing business ideas. Not only, because yesterday I was at the league, and for a very long time I was standing with, I was with, what's the name? The Bonche player, the goalkeeper. Remind me of the name. Not Graham. I was with Graham. Me and Graham haven't had a business talk since we both left the den. But yesterday we talked about business. I got to understand what he does, real estate and all the other businesses. I've always admired what he does in business. He's a successful businessman at his age. He's made a lot of money. You might not know because you're always playing football and you concentrate on the football. Now I'm telling you that Graham is a serious businessman. He owns so much in this country, all right? Properties, land and all that. He's in real estate. He's a rally driver and a rally fanatic.
That's my only fear.
He's one of our investors. He's one of our
people,
investors in the NLL home.
So people must appreciate these guys. When you see them, especially the young people who are watching us, they must appreciate these guys. Make them feel at home. convince them to leave Kafoobs and even join the younger groups, like I was convinced. The Kafoobs guys, Mage had grabbed me, and the only thing he didn't do was give me a jersey and a contract to sign, because if I'd done that, then the younger boys wouldn't have stolen me.
Sarodoa is the contract.
Kache.
No,
Hey. So,
Pause there. Have you played for any team this season?
no, I'm not playing football. I want to bring more to the game than just
Do you want
football.
to play football?
No, I'm too old to play football. You know why? And this is something that you guys should appreciate, that I don't have to play football. But I
Yeah,
can
I
support
was
the
just
football
going to,
idea.
to do a favor and give you some.
No. Personally, I have a health issue with my knees. I cannot handle the competition in the league. Now, because everybody expects everyone to play football in the league, that is one of the reasons why some people don't turn up, because they can't play anymore. Now, people need to understand that even if you can't play anymore, you need to be there, because there are other wins. There are other ways of playing, right? Network. I'm telling you a story about Graham. Yesterday, I got to know so much about his business. But Graham is an ICT qualified person. I think he did computer science or something. Me, I didn't do computer science. I'm making the little money that I have from ICT.
What did you study?
Political science. I did international relations. Supposed to be somewhere speaking a lot of English. But I ended up on the business side of ICT, and I don't regret. Graham was telling me, how do we work together?
ICT entrepreneurship. I did computer engineering. So it's an
So already, watch it. So, and I got to know some of the guys that he used to work with, the great developers that he knows, and what already working out on how we can do business together. As OBs, as friends, as brothers.
a long time of not
And we can. He has the money, I have some little. I have ideas.
Hands. There's an
Compared to what I want to have.
Hands is an important
So,
thing you tackled in your presentation about the NSOBA circle, but I'll bring you to it later. Hunted job to come in at this point. You see, we are on top of being on the council, you're also a member of Kashoro FC, and Kashoro has been a model team.
inaugural
Has been a model team
Yeah.
in terms of consistency. What's the trick? How have you been able to maintain those boys in the team? Keep them coming every Sunday. They are married people. They have commitments at home. In a Kuzaa church,
Big business
in a
people.
Kulia breakfast tomka. Bajisigayo for a 10 a.m. kickoff.
Okay. My two
The other day,
cents.
sorry to cut you off. The other day, when it was when they got their first win of the season, they came straight from Nyege. Came for the early kickoff, and they won Kachanchali. Very big boys, those ones. Very unserious
No,
boys.
we are the serious team. But my 2 cents, let me tell you, Kashoro, before we even had this chat, before we were on the tele, I told you these days there's much to do with social capital. And the more time you invest, you'll get to know about your friend, you'll get to know about, even in the family, you can have friends within your family, but how? There's constant engagements. Now, that's what we do in Kashoro. I don't think a week can pass without me meeting up there. Ines, Mubo Ine, mention anyone. Kabze, Alan. Yes, but these are the little things.
And
Little
the biggest number of lions you'll ever find out there at night.
Let me tell you.
The only challenge they have, never with wags, but move on.
Yeah, but because wags. Okay, I'm not.
Someone told me
seen
from
a
their
wag in
group
the Kashoro
that the reason you never see is because they act before coming to the bar.
That makes sense.
The Bagezi will understand.
That didn't come from me.
If you don't, you can't.
I don't know about that, but I was still telling you. The little things actually matter in life. So I get to know with those engagements. The guy calls you for a beer after work. We are all busy actually, but you can only create time for the things you think are important to you. If I value my friends, I'll create time. I'm quite busy actually. Even Sundays, I put them aside because I feel NLL is like family to me. So I make time. I can even be there before even, like by 10, 11, if I've slept early, of course, on a Saturday. So the things we do is we keep checking each other, we visit. When you have functions, people invite. We are constantly engaging on groups. We know where everyone is every day. And it now comes to us naturally. So if a guy has even gone to Nyege, I don't know he's in Nyege. I'm like, but boy,
We have a game in the moon. Yeah.
Are you available? He's like, I don't know, my job. Can I just sleep 1 hour? Please try and call me at around, 5 in the morning. And because I also have that, I'm like, Aine, what's up? Man, I try to call Aine. Before, actually, Aine go to the pitch before me. The Kabzes, they go to the pitch.
Straight
I was in
from
Kampala, I didn't
Ginger.
go to... So it's the little things. Actually, younger teams have approached me. They ask, how does Kashoro do it? There's a season, I think we lost almost all games. We used to be the last team to leave the league. After the loss, of course, there's banter. We mock what the mistakes you've made, what. And we're like, please, you're buying beer because of the nonsense you
Displayed on the pitch.
But not in a way of like bad way, but... And also we have this thing, if someone, and I think most teams don't have it, if someone has traveled a distance, even if we are playing a final, that man, as long as they want to play, they will get on that pitch. I don't care about the wins. So those small things, because most of these guys are the guys who even inject money. We've never struggled for league fees, for example, because guys, they want to be part of it. So it's quite easy. I think now it has become normal for us. I know even now if you ask me, I know where my boys are. From here, probably I'm going to meet some before I go home.
I'm sure.
Invested we are in knowing.
Maybe Kevin can answer the WAG's question for you because he's from TY and
he don't have WAGs.
Yeah,
So
no
what
WAG.
is he going to
I got a WAG for myself.
What?
Actually, it's no
What's
longer a
going
WAG.
on?
Eh?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you
Yes,
speak
sir.
on behalf of your friends in
My
TY
friends. You see
and
now-
Kashoro FC? Now we are combining you.
I associate
Both teams.
with these gentlemen
And
because
he's,
one thing, they actually, especially Kabzi and Ainemo, I often talk to them, yeah, but whenever I talk to them, I at least learn a thing or two. The other night we were with Kabze, we were having fun somewhere close by here, and it was around, I think, midnight. Then he saw my Snapchat and he's like, hey bro, link hey.
Kabzaria Snapchat.
Hard boy, that one. Fifth cousin. Then he texted me, he's like, hey bro, where are you? I'm like, I'm here with Inez. Hey. He's like, let me come through. It was like 1 a.m. But he came all the way. I think he was in Obana Mgongo somewhere, I'm not quite sure. Came and phoned me and he's like, bro, Bakwechi. But before they brought the bottle, he ordered 4. He had given me a business idea. He had told me, man, we should at least work together. You know, you're into, because he knows I'm into digital marketing and all that. He knows I did computer engineering and all that. So he was already giving me ideas of, man, we should work together. So it's up to me now to actually follow up. So I associate with them first because they are way older than me. And second of all, they guide me.
We're approachable
Third of all, Ruseke.
No,
that one is key.
In addition, we actually
Didn't mention WAGs anywhere.
forget about WAGs.
I never
for a
find them
second,
there.
because they don't add value. They actually just take away a lot of things.
WAGs take away a lot of things.
Yeah.
Shaza begs to differ.
That's why I don't have Ponte, but they have the WAGs.
In Shaza have Derek, he will handle. But
Which Derek? Now whom is that Derek?
pictures.
But both of them are
We are
well invested
approachable.
into.
And I can guarantee you, the things we've done, the business ideas, the businesses we have now, probably have all started from those social things. We just be there and someone says, but you guys, we can do this. And before you know it, we actually do it. So, like I said, you need to value. If you value your friends, you need to invest more time. There's no time. Most of us, we're all working. We are employed, your employer wants you in office by 8, some want you in office by 7:30, and say 7 or something. So you will leave work when you're literally tired. If you're going to see Hans, or Nwajira or Troy, it has to be something that's what I was saying when I was telling the young guys, you have to be intentional.
Yeah.
If you invest in your friends, they will also invest in you.
True.
It's as simple as that.
Now, Hans, there's no way we can leave this place without us tackling that information about the circle. We even here at NLL Echoes, we are upright gentlemen. We want to secure our future. How can one join that circle? What benefits are there?
Okay. You know,
what benefits can I derive from the NSOBA circle that I cannot get from Omujuma Investment Club?
And also, what does it take
First,
to join the circle?
First, I will talk about something that I subscribe that is worth billions than have a million myself. I would rather have my 1 million invested in something that is worth billions than have 1 million, than be a 1 millionaire.
Be a millionaire. Being a millionaire is a hard thing.
I would rather be a nobody with my 1 million invested in a billion idea than have a million and be called a millionaire. You get my point? Because when you have numbers in terms of finances, nothing can stop you.
There's much you can do.
You can own anything. If the 5 of us, 1, 2, 3, 4. If the 4 of us pull 1 million together, we are 5 million rich. Sorry, 4 million rich because we are 4. If I have my 1 million, I'm 1 million poor. Because I cannot buy something worth 4 million or even 3 or 2 because I have 1. But once we put it together, it means we are in a position to do something bigger. I will have a small share in there, but that small share is worth a lot. I'll start with the investment club. When we did the investment club, it was an idea. We wanted to do it as the entire NSOBA fraternity. That's how the whole idea started. We said, let's have an investment club. And everybody jumped and said, yes, 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 yes. Then before you know, we had the detractors. Who will do this? Who will do that? The English speaking started. Every time you mention money and you have big numbers, then you have a lot of English speaking men coming in and taking you back to what you discussed 3 days ago. So the investment club, that's how it happened. We said, you know what, you guys, we need 40 people. Once we have 40 people, we are going to register this investment club, cap it, and we won't admit anybody. When we started, I don't remember exactly how much we put in, but once you look at what each one of us has invested, I think it's about 40 million, 40 something million, what we've invested so far as individuals. But we are 40 people. So that's 40 million times 40 people. And then we have invested that money over time in land. We have invested in unit trusts. And all these investments are earning us an interest at the end of every month. We also do internal lending to the members. Now,
only the 40.
Yeah, only we lend within ourselves. Once you look at the way we lend to each other, it's more or less like a risk-free investment, but it brings us a lot of interest. Now, remember, you're borrowing as an individual, but at the same time, your money if I put in 40, it means I can borrow against that 40, but at the same time, that 40 is already invested somewhere. In land, in unit trusts. So if you look at my worth in the investment club, or the worth of the investment club, it's crazy. I won't give you the exact figures right now, but I know that we are about times 10 the initial value that we put in. Because we have land in Kasanje, for example. We envisage that if we bought an acre at 40 million at the time when we bought it, once that construction of the road is done, that acre will be worth about 60, 70 million. So when you're looking at the value of our land now, it is not the 40 million we used to buy an acre. No, it is the 70 that it can pull us now, and probably much, much more in future. But we could also choose to build something there, maybe a home with an estate. Either pick an estate from within for each of the members, or rent them out or sell them and make more money. So I'm just trying to give you the idea of having numbers in investment. Now, as an individual, I wouldn't have achieved that. But now I'm part of big dreams with less effort, because this is not money that I put in at once. No, I put in small money that I can actually do without. So when the investment group moved to that level, we sat down and said, how do we now get everybody else on board? Since we are in a closed investment group, how do we open it up to young boys who are at the university or have just left the university and want to be bigger to something, you know? So that's how we came up with the idea of the circle. But you should also appreciate that different groups, cohorts, they have circles already. Like 98, we had a circle, we fought over small things, we pulled out the money. Some of us who had put in, let's say, $1 million, someone would go out with 1.5. So even when we failed, we won at the end of the day, because one, you managed to save 100,000 every month, and when you were closing, you moved out. You had contributed 1 million, but you moved out with 1.5. You are 1.5 million richer. If you had remained with that 100K, you'd have either drunk alcohol. Some of us have a poor saving culture. Now, when we started the circle, we said, let's start this circle to serve the entire group, not different cohorts, not individuals, but the entire NSOBA fraternity. Everyone can become a member by simply subscribing. I think you buy 5 shares, which is 100,000, and then you save 100,000 to start to begin with. So that's 200,000, requirement of 200,000. You put it in, and you become a member of the circle. Then I think there's a requirement on a monthly basis, no, on an annual basis, but better if you break it down to the monthly requirement, so that you know that every month at least I must buy, I think it's 1 or 2 shares. I think 1 share that you have to buy every month to remain active. You can also save. Now, if you look at a kid who is at the university, it's very difficult for them to save because they don't have the saving culture. Not that they don't have money, they have money. For me, sometimes I find my kids are young. One is, when I say young, one is 17. My firstborn is 17.
Hard.
My second kid is 15. Sometimes I find them with money. And I always ask them, where did you get this money from? And then they will say, do you remember when you gave me 50,000 to go and do ABCD? And then you say, yes. The kid says, I saved 5. And then mommy sent me to do ABCD, I saved 10. Then, so kids are getting this saving culture. And at the end of the day, you find a kid of 15 years with 50,000 on their phone, and you're like, now, it means that someone who is at the university is ready to save. But now they're saving for different things. They're not saving for a weekend out with the girlfriend or a weekend out with the boys. No, we need to start enlightening them and show them that, hey, look here, if you are at the university, you're going to get out of the university tomorrow, you'll need to start a business, but you'll not have even 100 shillings. If you're a member of the circle, you're in a position to save 20,000 every month, or 50 or 100. Some kids have 100, they can save it. But by the time you get out of the university, the circle itself, one will have multiplied the money that you saved there. So if you saved 1 million, you'll find that your value maybe is at 2 million or 1.8, 1.5. But that is not the biggest point. The biggest point is that now you can go and borrow against your savings. So your savings are growing, your shareholding is growing, the circle has somehow imparted into you a saving culture, and you are in a position to borrow against whatever you have and have capital to start a small business. Me, I believe in starting businesses. I don't believe in these young boys leaving the university, then so many of them are on the streets looking for jobs, including NSOBA members, or should I say Ntare old boys. That's what the circle has to offer. But now when it comes to the league, for example, and to business owners, it means that if I need 50 million, and for some reason I've managed to save about 20, it is easy for me to raise that 50 because there's this issue of guarantors. I can come up with 2 or 3 friends of mine and say, I need you guys to act as my guarantors so that I can borrow this much. This is what I want to do, blah, blah. If we are brothers like me and him, I'll be like, okay, instead of giving you money, I would rather guarantee you so that you can borrow it and subject it to whatever you want to do, as long as at the end of the day you pay back. And we'll hold you accountable, because if you mess up this money, it means that us, the guarantors, are going to be paying it. So it means that you're in a position actually to raise more than what you have managed to save as an individual within the circle. That's business. That's financial strength. You can also do what we call invoice financing. There's a product for that. That if you are a member of the circle and you run business, like Pickshots here, he might get a job tomorrow that requires a lot of money that he cannot raise. If you're a member and you've been saving and all that, more information will be shared. And I would suggest that you invite the chair or someone maybe on the business side from the circle to appear here tomorrow.
Of the circle.
Yeah, there's someone there who can share more of this information with facts, with paperwork and everything, so that you get the exact feeling. But I'll just go through it chap. You can get invoice financing from the circle if you're a member. If you have a job of 100 million and there's an LPO, but you need maybe 60 million to do the job of 100 million, you can come to the circle and borrow that 60 million. Do your job within chap. When you paid maybe end of the month, the circle deducts what they gave you, the 60, and you have your profit of 40. That's the empowerment now. As the NLL, you always have the small teams struggling to raise the money and everything. If each one of the members of that team are subscribed to the circle can actually come in and clear their league fees, and then slowly keep on recovering. At little or at a small or no interest at all. I think that's something that that product is still being developed. It hasn't been concluded yet. Yeah, they are working on it. But you need to influence it now.
Your product, your league fees new.
Yeah. So you see what I'm talking about? Someone in the circle who has never appeared at the NLL is busy planning for you, but they don't even know what you want. But if you had representation there, then it would be very easy, because you'd say, no, that won't work. I understand my boys very well, that won't work. But what can work is this. So you make the circle stronger, the circle makes you financially stable.
Let me. I think you've given him a lot of information. His head must be
true.
Yes.
I wish
So
I had
I'm
gotten,
just going to
I
break
wish
it
I had
down
gotten
for
this
you.
information 10 years earlier.
I'm going to break it down for you in simple terms.
Shayano dinga yano.
In TY, probably your contributions, not like with due respect. If fully paid up member is like maybe say 10 million. If you want a deal,
Are you speaking of the investment club?
investment
or?
club,
Oh.
they are TY investment club. Now the difference is if you come to the circle, because the circle has these big old boys. If you want 100 million in TY, no one will guarantee in TY.
If you want 100 million,
You
just
get.
recently got 100 million.
No, I mean, who will guarantee you for 100?
Yeah.
Because they can't allow you and you borrow against your
This
contribution.
man here has given us a lot of financial knowledge.
A lot of information.
This information I wish I had gotten when I was in like my first year or something.
It's never too late.
It's never too late.
Never too late.
Now I will start.
Even our CEO of Pickshots, I've loved that information.
A lot.
Because the boy in the last episode, Akatugamblang, the Pickshots he met the first time.
I remember.
Was a very poor man. Very poor man. I can't
But he used a bad word.
The way he understood that this man was poor, we went to Crocs at James. Pickshots he didn't have Katogo money. Katogo was 10K at Crocs.
10,000 at Crocs.
Pickshots akata zili.
But what I respect about that man,
atanabasakugurira timu yona
Atunagura restaurant.
akatogo. Yeah.
what I respect about him is how passionate he is about the league. Msha na chitera no mutima.
He didn't follow the money. That's what we have learned.
He didn't
today.
chase the money.
Never chase the
Didn't
money.
chase the money.
Money
The
is
money
following
chased.
How
him.
long have you been chasing the money?
I've chased the money. No would hinkulebaka sent.
No,
Nkatwara sinde.
Okarabaho nokarabaho.
I think ni
That's
karaho.
where the problem
I
is.
think
The
ni
where
karaho.
the problem is.
No kwa kunja ngwa haraka sent.
Oti.
Na yurukarabaho
That's
nokarabaho.
That's where the problem
That's the
is.
challenge.
Money should
Job.
chase you.
Job. We've had Hans talk about NSOBA this passionately. How do you bridge in NLL, being an inaugural member of the Lions League. What do you think we're not doing right, that we need to do right to properly merge with NSOBA and progress?
To begin with, largely it's leadership. We need, and I think we are starting to pick the leaders that are interested in both parties. Of course, NSOBA being it's a bigger organization that we all subscribe to, or anyone who went to the den. If we get the right leaders like we have now, with the right patron who actually is a good bridge to our fan field NLL, but also has these other connections. Of course, he knows the bigger picture of NSOBA. I think going forward, we need to look at the people we choose to serve the interests of two entities, so that we bridge that gap closer, because NSOBA will give us actually what we don't have, much as we haven't realized that, because now the NLL goals have become bigger. We used to be not so big, but right now, even the Uganda League definitely is benchmarking. I'm telling you the truth.
Hard.
Yeah. I have guys who are actually sporting talent in our league. The other time I was approached by, I won't mention the teams, but they come to watch, and I told them, yeah, for us.
By then now, I agree with him now, because boys sometimes bakaza tita bachitera anyetembuzi bachitera KCCA inboxed me.
Oh. No.
Brothers, what's going on?
Are they calling you to be a kicksman or what?
Brothers.
No, I think they are looking for a number one fan, but for serious players, I don't think you'd be considered. However, I've been, and to be honest, and it goes back to what we're talking about, social capital. We meet through these other, it's a function. Even these guys from other leagues, they just call us. Please, let's have a drink. Because honestly, now we no longer brag about being the number one, league.
As a league founder,
Yes.
What message would you have for our younger old boys that are starting to settle in the league, our future leaders, people that we hope will carry on this wonderful product that you guys started?
My good message is, first is to know that they shouldn't know that football is everything. Football, more than anything, is just, you call it a vehicle, I call it a driver. We have other disciplines, all the other sports disciplines actually that we'll try to bring around: cricket, rugby. The other time we played golf in Ntare and actually won.
We have the chess league.
Chess league, you're the champion, and you had to talk about that. Yeah, but all these are drivers to the bigger goal, which is your personal future, where you want to go. Like I said, you have to be intentional. So they need to look at this. Even if you beat me 6-0, 10-0, what do I gain at the end of it all? What do I gain from the league? Yes, I've come, I've played. That time, before even the incident we had in the league, I met that Okero ref. And he was bragging, saying that Ntare league is probably the best league, more than even the big leagues I've been into, because of their discipline. So it's something we need to maintain. First, of course, we've started with the sessions that we're having with the younger years. The older boys already know the dynamics of the league, but we need to emphasize this more, have more engagements, tell them how they can gain more from the league other than winning games. You can lose a game, but at the end of the day, you You get to meet Chitakuteganzi, you get to meet Nwajira. You have a case, Nwajira knows some lawyer who can give you a service at a low fee because we are who we are because of our connections. So let's gain more from the connections. Let's try to learn more. If you come to the league, more than football, try to talk to NORDA, OB. For one, I actually like engaging young people because I know the young people have ideas. They have the best ideas out there. Much as, of course, they also have too much to learn from us. So it's having a conversation and you sieve out what you want. You tell me, okay, I say nonsense, but I didn't mean nonsense, but you'd say a lot of nonsense. But sometimes I pick out, like we're having a discussion. You can tell when someone is being serious. Hans, when he was communicating, you can tell what he's passionate about. So any conversation you're having with me, I tend, like we call ourselves brothers, even now in Kashoro. That's how we be. We don't have titles. We have MPs, we have CEOs, we have. Actually, Kashoro has, I think we probably have everyone in
prisons
anywhere. But if you find us in a group, yeah, and if you have money, the works will always come. If we summon them, they will always come. That's so we never focus on that. We focus on the money and growing our friendship. So the advice is to pick is much as, because I know we all play football, it's competitive. At some point, it's competitive. But before you make that rush tackle to Nwajira's leg, let it sink in that, man, what damage can I cause? Someone who can create for me, yeah, here's also a family to take care of. Because if Nwajira goes, if you're a friend to him, that means you're going to take over the burden. So there are many things that, and I think we have the best foundation from school.
If I'm injured from the league, my medical bill really, we're away in the league. You have to pay that money. There's no way my family is going to foot.
Good enough.
You're not playing.
The family is not yet there.
FC. Every team has to send money.
Yeah, when you start a family, I don't know, 2040?
When I am injured at the league.
2040?
So really, you have to think about it before you.
Yeah, but the lesson to pick from this is it's more than football. It's more than any game. Let's network, get the opportunities we have to get. Be intentional on what you want. You can, IT for one.
Everyone is in IT.
Business.
It's the future.
It's the future. Like, actually, I think I'll be out of IT, but IT keeps evolving, so I'll stay there, but more of business because that's where money is. So what I'm saying is Kafooko is in business as well as IT. If you come to the league, try to get to know, because you should pick where your interest is. Even the campuses, you want to be an engineer, a successful engineer. We have quite a number of engineers in our cohort. There are many in your cohort. You can just engage. And what the beauty about Ntare OBs is that they are accommodative. They will listen. If they know you're actually serious about what you want. So you just approach, Nwajira, I want to be a lawyer, but these are the challenges I'm facing. So you're gaining more than football. You get? So even if I don't play, if I come and meet Nwajira, Kevin, a Hans, I will not go back the same person. And that's the bigger goal. That's what we need to push. I see of recent we've not been doing it well, but we need to keep doing it. We shouldn't tire. We should push it every opportunity we get.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to actually honor this invite. But the biggest, I think I sent a message sometime, me and my brother Derek be asking for subscribe, like, follow, what. Yeah. But There is a message I sent in the group when I was saying, I think it's something to do with what you are talking about. There are different products that are actually coming out of the NSOBA. As in several babies that are actually coming out of NSOBA. There is NLL Echoes, there is NLL News, there is NSOBA Investment Club, there is NSOBA Circle, there is more. We are planning on bigger things as well. But the point is to actually stay as a group.
My idea is kutandika ho katinda within NLL. Because Beras is here with us, but you guys are not connecting.
But how are you wired like this?
I don't know what. He just drives like that.
Why I can connect love within NSOBA.
Within NSOBA.
Abandonya.
The tower Beras, but them chawas can tena image in them.
Abanonyo basorting. You're looking out for your single brothers, but anyway. So that's basically it from me. Stay as a group. And of course, to the young brothers, they should actually listen to the older brothers. As in, by listening, not listen and learn from them. Because at the end of the day, Nyonkanye Kevini, I mess up. I mean, the advice I would get from Job or from Hans is totally different from the advice. I'm not saying the young brothers also don't advise. They actually also give us some ideas and we take them on. But that's basically it from me. And yeah.
Hans, parting shot.
Yeah, first of all, I want to appreciate you guys. Davis Karashani, Brian, my brother here, Job, and a number of other guys, they are Inez, for having come up with this idea. I love visionary people. There are not so many in this life of ours. There are so many OBs who call us only when they want to drink. Like you, sometimes you see a call and you're like, useless. Useless. There are many. But when someone calls you and talks to you about business, asks for guidance on this and that, asks you about life, taps into your knowledge on life and so many other aspects, you realize, okay, these are the kind of people that I want to associate with. And I know there are so many boys, OBs from Ntare, who are not guided. And you mentioned something, that if you had this information maybe a couple of years back, things could have been different. If I had this information when I was still at the den, or even after the den, or 5 years later, after campus and all that, I don't know where I would be. But then I also believe in the saying that there is a perfect timing for everything. It is important to have platforms like these where we can share. Me, I believe in sharing, because I believe through sharing I've learned so much. You don't want to know how many times I run, every time I have a business idea, and I run it to about 5 different people. At the end of it all, if I sit down and look at the discussions or the feedback that I've had, the various contributions that I've had from all these people, my idea becomes better. So it means that every time I have an idea and I run it by you, I look at your input, I look at his input, I look at everybody's input, and then at the end of the day, I sit back and I'm like, oh, sometimes you're also presenting your own idea. And then somewhere in the middle, you're like, but I think this idea is bogus. All right? But then someone tells you another angle and you're like, that's exactly what I was looking for. So I believe in sharing. Some people are just there, mean, selfish. They believe if I share my idea, someone is going to steal it. No, it will never be that idea, the idea you had at first. They can try, triplicate your idea, but your idea is your idea. But your idea is going to have some or lots of improvement if you share it. So it's very good to share. Share your story, share your experiences, share your ideas. And that is what NSOBA is all about. That's the networking I'm talking about. That when someone comes to the league from the other NSOBA, let them feel at home. Let them realize, oh, it's not only about soccer.
There's so much more we can
These
get
days
from
when people register businesses, let's say someone registers pick shots. Someone is going to think about, oh, shots, photography and all that. Now, these days, there's a common word they add, and more. That and more leaves you open to so many things. So many things. Pick shots and more, photography and more. Because the more is what we are having now, the more is the idea. It opens your idea up. So let's keep on engaging NLL and more, because it's not only about football, all right? There is more that we have to share. And I need people to understand that there is no difference between NLL and NSOBA. We are one family. And together we can do so much. People need to understand that NSOBA, right now actually, like the real NSOBA is a WhatsApp group. But then the fun is in investing, which is through the circle. The fun is through linking up on Sunday, where I get to see people that I last saw 20 years ago. That's the fact. Someone will come to the league for the first time and look at someone and say, you guy, you're still alive. Because in his head, back at the den, the greatest story is about myself. When people saw me, let's say 15 years or 20 years after Ntare, some were so surprised to see this Hannington. Because at the den I was a mad guy. Hard guy. Confused with a lot of energy.
Leading strikes.
Later on in business, but in business, I have something to share. And I've made my contribution here and there. So when someone comes to the league and then finds you, yesterday I saw Joshua Twinamasko. The mother used to be Mrs. Twinamasko. She used to teach, CRE, I think. I think it was CRE. Amazing woman. The son was in the same room with me in room 3 Nile. I saw him yesterday after so many years. I was so happy to see him. Then I got to know that he's in IT. All right? And then we try to share about family and all that, and we have so much in common. He has seen so much, I've seen so much. So we said, no, we need to meet again. So, and we tried to swap numbers. I realized I still had his old number. I didn't have mine. He picked mine. We are going to meet. We are definitely going to meet, because he's an amazing guy, sharp brain. But I hadn't seen him for over 15 years. We met at the league. Now, there is someone who is dying of fatigue. We have OBs who have retired. There are so many on the NSOBA group. I think you see them. They want company. They are bored.
They are actually bored. They are not doing anything.
We were in Mbarara for Bruce's wedding. Bruce is the PR for Ntare. When we were in Mbarara at his wedding, I didn't know Bruce. When he was at the den, he's a young boy. He was at the den. I was already in life. I was already doing life. Bruce Mugera is the PR of NSOBA. But he invited me and a couple of other OBs, and the OBs by they contributed heavily for his wedding. So the OBs made his wedding.
Bruce and bro are Benson Mayanja inside.
But then Bruce would be.
His mother is Madame Bale, used to teach us French.
I don't think Bruce would be what he is today if it wasn't for NSOBA. The NSOBA family picked him up, gave him a job. It pays him. It has given him unlimited connections. Bruce can knock at anyone's door today. Everybody knows Bruce. Anyone who is on the NSOBA group, regardless of which year you went to the den.
This is the message you should preach. This is what we're talking about.
Everybody knows Bruce.
It's more than football.
It's because of NSOBA. You see? Now, we were at his wedding, and I met an OB. I won't say the name, but he's a senior OB, retired, but very rich in this town. He's an engineer. He has so much. I realized that his vibe equals mine, like they match. The vibe of an old guy who is in his 60s. We talk about,
yes.
We were enjoying a glass of liquor together. We were all, it was as if we were, cut from the same tree, same age group. But he's way, way older than me.
I didn't think you would reveal your age. 60.
No, that's why I used 60, and then me, I'm also somewhere there. Yeah, but we were on the same table with other guys, MPs and all that, and it's Bruce and Obi were together, and we were discussing things and doing that, and we realized if only we could meet over, whatever it is,
regularly.
But in big numbers like we did at that time, then there's so much we can achieve together. You're meeting engineers, you're meeting judges, you're meeting. Now, the only place where we can meet every weekend is at the NLL. These big boys need to know that. And that is the message you should push. The NLL also needs to package itself as an appealing, what should I call it? Like it needs to be appealing, more appealing to NSOBA, to the wider NSOBA community, so that people get to know that it's not only soccer. They need to know that there is so much networking, getting to know people, meet people that you haven't met over, business ideas and all that. Then also now the circle needs to know that those are also recruiting grounds. We are fused at the end of the day. We are one family, and together I can assure you we are unstoppable.
There's one thing we always do with our guests, that's making predictions for the season. Which teams do you think will make the finale in Fort Portal this season?
Well, the young kids who have just joined, there's always energy from that side. No, not only Kashani, but if you look at, because usually the biggest competition comes from like the three youngest teams, all right? But then of course you have, I respect Omujuma somehow. Yeah, I respect them. You can't rule them out until it's over. Yeah, so maybe Kashani, and Sai, those small boys, and then TY, they will be somewhere. They will be somewhere. Okay. You can't give it to anybody right now. Yeah, it will be highly competitive. That one I can assure you.
Kevin, your prediction? Season prediction?
My season prediction. Of course, my team will be on the final. TY Omjuma. The other team that might compete with us, it's very, like he said, it's very hard now to find the other team. For TY, we are there. We are there. We are there. But the other team, Shera is a cancer. They fidget their way into finals. I don't know how. 1-0.
You're not ruling them out.
Not ruling them out. There are very many teams
what
you can't.
What are you doing? What
there are teams have ruled out.
Machando.
Abashwech is not smelling any final.
Machando FC. Johnny was telling me
even
that.
Machando is.
Vibes. Just
Abashwech vibes. Those are my big brothers.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Johnny
But
Machando assured me this year Machando is making the
Receive.
final.
Nsai, Kalere.
That's the biggest joke of the season.
I think Nsai and Kalere, one of the two, might find us on the final.
Job King. Season prediction, parting shots, we wrap it up.
I'll give you the predictions first, then I can have my parting shots. I think Nsai, I'll give you 3. Nsai, of course, somehow in Shera, usually somehow,
Yes,
I don't
somehow
know how they get there, but I think they'll be there in the mix. And also, I think TY. So Nsai, Shera, TY. One of them will be champion, I think, this year. My parting shots. At Noreba, if you have your close friends, if 3 of your friends tell you that something is wrong, however stubborn you are, if you go back home, you can always
Do self-reflection.
put away and you know that I think what they're telling me is right. That is something that everyone should, if you have close friends and they tell you something, please listen, even if you're stubborn enough. But over and above, first of all, I would like to make mention that pictures will be on my photography. You earlier asked. No question about that.
Hard.
And that's very soon. I'm just
Amen to that.
very soon. But also kudos to NLL Echoes. Like I said earlier, what you're doing, you don't know how huge this is, because we live in the technology times, and the future kids, even those who are not yet born, who will go through the den, will have the opportunity to actually get to know these things even when we are normal. And that, my friends, should be something you should be proud of. Whoever is associated with that and the idea, and whoever is in the background. Of course, many people are never thanked for the good work in the background, but me, I love being in the background. I don't mind it, as long as I see something is being done right. So thank you for inviting us. I hope we've shared a few of some insights of our knowledge and expertise and experience. To the greater community of Ntare and of course our sisters in Weranyanji. I'm a coach of Weranyanji. I should also mention that.
Nyanji brought a hard kit.
Yes,
And very nice kid.
Very
Very
nice
nice.
Still,
kid.
we were.
I
was also behind.
Give me that jersey. Let
I
me
was
wear
also
it and
behind. I was among the people behind the,
The
of course, the jersey. But my message to the NLL community, whereas inclusive. Okay, for them, of course, they're not as competitive. But the bigger picture is networking. We should be intentional, like I said earlier. Purpose to gain more than football from the league. The younger teams, it's not life and death. You can gain more. We should not be...
Thank you for honoring our invitation today. From everyone at NLL Echoes, we thank you very much for coming. When we invite you again in future, we hope you will honor invite again, and we have these discussions that will promote our league and put us somewhere else. We appreciate our sponsors, Online Chupa and Pick Shots Photography, for pushing us this far. And until next time, until the next episode.
Cheers.
Cheers.